As a Nigerian, eating meat has never been a problem. We do love our meats. Talk about cow meat, goat meat, bomo, eroegbe, you name it. The list could go on. So when I started the carnivore diet, I thought this will be easy. But I quickly learned it's not the same thing. So today, I am sharing what I have learned after being on the carnivore diet for almost 2 years, especially as a Nigerian. From taste to preparation to discovery of steak, and why medium rare just changed everything for me. Number one, let's talk about Nigerian meat culture versus the simplicity of carnivore. Traditionally, Nigerians cooking means, and I'm referring to soup, stews mainly. So as a Nigerian, our cooking process, particularly for stew and soups, means we will have to boil, we'll have to fry, we'll have to grill what we're going to use. That could be the meat, the fish, or anything in terms of proteins that we will be adding to our soup or stew. And we also use a lot of spices, seasoning, cubes, palm oil, crayfish, onion. We are very rich when it comes to these condiments that we add to our stew. We also may use assorted meats like the intestines, the shaki, the bomo. If you're Nigerian, you most likely know where I'm coming from. Our meats are usually well done, as in cooked until it's soft. Okay? We are very good at creating flavors because we have the luxury of different spices from different tribes, different cultures to prepare our soup or stews. And we always cook our meat until it's well cooked, well done. In fact, if you serve a Nigerian half-done meat, they'll look at you like, are you mad? Literally. So here are some examples of some Nigerian meat dishes, or stews. So we have the egusi soup, we have the suya, we have the pepper soup, we have the white soup. The list really could go on. And these soups, they cannot exist without the spices and the special ingredients which we add to them. So that's the normal way of cooking as a Nigerian. And that's how I cook my meats, my stews, And this is me, a Nigerian going carnivore, all right? Now let's talk about carnivore, me starting the carnivore diet. It means I eat the meat with salt. And yes, I know I can add some spices. But if you're strict, it's basically meat and salt. You don't really add enough spices or any spices, rather. There's no pepper soup. The focus is generally on the quality of the meat in itself and the fat to protein ratio and the nutrient density. So this is me coming from a typical Nigerian culture, or this is me coming from a culture where our meats are well flavored, well seasoned, and taste beautiful, to just eating meat, which I would just fry, boil, or grill. And I basically will use salt. And that's about it. Yes, I could add spices, but the sauces are not there. As in, we use a lot of tomato sauce and pepper and all that. So eliminating that was one big shock to my body. But I did persist. I got on with it. So that's number one, how I kind of struggled at the beginning when I started the carnivore diet, having to kind of shift away from the way I cook to just like eating meat. But let's keep going and I'll tell you more. Number two, let's talk about the problem with the typical Nigerian cuts of meat. When you go to the market to get meat for your stew, your soup, what I learned is that most meat cuts we use for stew are often lean, tough, or not flavorful. They don't have a lot of flavor, and hence they need to be heavily seasoned. Here's an example of some of the cuts that we generally get. And do correct me if I'm wrong. We get the shank, the shin, the neck, assorted meats, and much more really that we would buy, So what happened when I started on the carnivore diet and I continued to eat the same cuts, but by boiling, frying, or grilling them, I noticed that they did not taste that good. And it was kind of boring. Some even were hard to chew. And to make it worse, it didn't taste that nice without the stew. So what do I do? And that's number 2 problem I had. Just bear with me, stay with me while I get there. So I had to explore because the meats were not really tasting that nice. Then I discovered steak and the Western style of meat preparation. You know, I had no idea that each part of a cow offers different taste experiences. Different cuts of beef provide a wide range of flavors and textures, which are influenced by the muscles, activities, and marbling. For example, cuts like ribeye are tender and they have a lot of flavor because they come from less active muscles and have good marbling. We do have other cuts like brisket, the shank. They do have flavor in itself, but they do require longer cooking methods to become tender. I guess these are some of the cuts that we buy. Some of them will have flavor, but you need to cook them to make it tender. Okay, so I've now learned about different parts of the cow, different flavors that the cow can offer. Now, I started buying different cuts of steak, including ribeye, sirloin, T-bone, short ribs. And guess what I did? This is so funny. I started to prepare them the same way I cook my Nigerian beef, which involves either boiling, frying, and yes, sometimes I do grill, and making sure it's well cooked. As a result, none of them tasted great. Then I discovered the concept of medium rare cooking. Using my air fryer, of course. I know you could use your oven, but I use my air fryer mostly. You know, before, if I'm going to cook a steak, what I would usually do is boil it and then put it in the air fryer. Don't laugh. And that would just dry everything up. And it usually wouldn't taste nice. So I said, okay, that's it. You don't necessarily need to boil it. Just stick it in the air fryer and leave it for a long time, at least over half an hour or a bit. And I made sure it was well done. It still came out dry. So I'm like, what the heck? This is not tasting really nice. So I learned the secret, the whole concept of medium rare. I reduced the heat, I reduced the cooking time, and my goodness, the taste, Lord, the taste was wonderful. And yes, you will see some shreds of blood. You will still see a kind of blood in it. That's why it's medium rare. It's not well done. It's not cooked. And I could tell you, if you had asked me a few years ago to eat that piece of meat that I can see just a little bit of blood, oh my goodness, I will fight you. But when I finally tried it, I was shocked by the flavor and the tenderness. It was nothing like boiled beef from the market or what I normally would do, boil the meat to put it in the grill or boil it and put it in the air fryer. Medium rare apparently helps preserve the nutrients and collagen. Overcooked meat may taste familiar, but it's not always better for your health. I had no idea. This is when I went to do a bit of homework about medium rare meats. So what am I saying? Some Nigerians may face challenges going carnivore due to the taste expectation. It's hard to enjoy meat without soup, stew. I know that anyway. And if you're a Nigerian, you most likely may feel the same way. You may have mental craving for flavor, not just the nutrients. The availability of good cuts. So when you're cooking normal stew, the availability of good cuts are not always there. We don't actually use steak to cook our soup. Most butchers sell the same old lean cuts. Ribeye, sirloin are more expensive and not always available. Now let's talk about the cooking style, our Nigerian cooking style. Not used to grilling or roasting without oil and sauce. Rare or medium rare may sound strange to most Nigerians. I think that's changing now. It's a mindset shift from cooking meat as flavor from soup to eating meat as a main course. So rather than eating the meat, you know when you're going to have your soup, there's meat in it, you have it with something by the side, rice or whatever. Generally, you will have your soup, stew, which has meat, fish, whatever in it. You have that, like, you have your rice, your eba, your whatever you're going to eat, your main dish, which is generally carbs. You have that, and then you put your soup on it, or you put your soup next to it. That's how we eat traditionally in Nigeria anyway. So you have your eba, your gari, your fufu here, and you have your soup, your stew next to it, or you can put it on top of it. But going on a carnivore, you mean you shift all that. So basically, all you're doing is eating the meat as your main meal, really. So being on a carnivore could be quite isolating. You might feel isolated when you go out, but I don't really care now. So what I generally would eat when I'm out and about in my Nigerian setting is I will have asun. I just eat the sauce as it is. So what advice can I give to my Nigerian friends who are on a carnivore? This is what I do now. I eat mostly ribeye or fatty cuts. If you can afford it, it's better. Just buy in bulk. Prepare meat with salt only. If you're a strict carnivore, I still put spices in my meat anyway. Sometimes pan fry, roast or grill. Occasionally, you can still enjoy your Nigerian style meat, but without the sauce. Or with the sauce, it's up to you. I still love my pomo. I love the shaki, but they are now a treat for me. It's not the base of my diet anyway. So try different cuts. Experiment beyond the shank, the tite of this is what we usually get to buy to cook our soups. Learn how to grill. Learn how to pan fry your meat properly. Give medium rare steak a try at least once. I know it was difficult for me to eat it at first. Don't be afraid to simplify, as in your cooking process. Less seasoning can add more flavor if the meat quality is good. And I can tell you that when I eat my ribeye now, I just basically put salt on it. And if it's good quality meat, I can tell you, you would really enjoy it. You would taste the meat in itself, the flavor in the meat itself, without the seasoning. I think seasoning is wonderful, but sometimes I think seasoning can blunt the taste of the meat in itself. Remember, if it's good quality meat, maybe grass-fed meat, 100% grass-fed meat, which has been well catered for, you would really taste the richness of the meat just by adding salt. So now I just grill my meat. I literally just add it in the air fryer, really, and add a bit of salt. And I do enjoy that piece of meat. And occasionally I'll add a little bit of butter on it. And that's it, you know? So carnivore as a Nigerian is possible, but it requires a lot of unlearning a few things. You will start tasting meat in a whole new way. And yes, you can still be proud of your meat-loving culture, just with a few cubes and more salt. So here's the question. Have you tried carnivore as a Nigerian? What cut of meat do you love most? Drop a comment, like this video, and subscribe for more insights on eating well, aging strong, and staying rooted in culture. Thank you so much for watching. God bless you and have a lovely day. Bye-bye.